So one thing that gets all singers, and especially theater singers, really caught up is when we start to talk about these technical, mechanical issues, and then we divorce these technical functions from the actual psychological, emotional, soul reasons that these physical shapes exist. Yeah, when we separate those two, there can be a disconnect. There can be a sound that sounds like a certain thing, but there's just something missing. There's an emotional and there's a lack of belief in the reality of this story. So let's take one example. Like you always hear as a singer, raise your soft palate. So number one, for theater singing, sometimes you will raise your soft palate and sometimes you won't raise your soft palate. And then there are different ways to raise the soft palate. Words like this or directives like this really come from a Western classical sensibility where there is more of a unified aesthetic framework that you're trying to achieve. In theater singing, we are making all manner of sounds depending on the point of view of the character, who we are, what era we're in, what style we're singing. I mean, it's all over the map. So the thing we have to remember is the vocal tract shape that we're making is going to be very much predicated upon who I believe I am and what I believe is happening. All right, so say a soft palate up or down situation. Let's see. Okay, so a soft palate up situation would be I see something delicious. Ooh, delicious. Yeah. So you can feel your soft palate wanting to lift up because you are seeing that big, beautiful dollop of whipped cream on top of peach cobbler. So you feel your mouth wants that in there to taste. My mouth's watering right now thinking about peach cobbler and whipped cream. But think about how that translates over, you have something yummy. Think about how that translates over to a love song. If I sing the word you, Y-O-U, and I let my palate lower or my tongue come forward, you, that does not sound like yummy, I want that in my mouth. But if I think about the whipped cream or the ice cream, you. So that's where we often get like, if I loved you. That more round, I want to taste that, that's yummy sound. Other than if I say, if I loved you, the vowel is more forward, my palate is farther down. But if I am saying, hey, trying to get someone's attention, my palate is coming right down and I am emphasizing the hard surfaces in my vocal tract. Epiglottis, my hard palate, my teeth, and I'm making a really bright sound for a different need, yeah? So one way to think about this is to go back to those two questions. Who am I? And what do I believe is happening? So I'm thinking about this very famous phrase from I Dreamed a Dream from Les Miserables, where when Fantine sings, as they turn your dreams to shame. Dream, one dream, two shame. Yeah, and look, this is literally just do, re, mi, fa, so is the melody of that. It's a really powerful moment, right? So if I were to sing, okay, let's backtrack it. If I think about the word shame, and we just say this, let's do this together. As they turn your dream to shame, I'll say the words, and then I'll say, as they turn your dream to shame. And I'll just let the movie of that play out a little bit, all right? And then I'm going to say the lyric one more time, and whatever image just came up, I'm going to let my heart connect into that on an even more personal level. As they turn your dream to shame. So as I said that 3 times, I saw the sort of intellectual concept of it, I saw the image, and then when I let my heart connect to it, I literally felt physical sensation down in my heart and in my stomach. As they turn your dream to shame. So notice where that lights up in your guts, yeah? And then if I call out the word, if I just notice where that's alive in me, shame, my dream is turned to shame. If I just call out, shame, And that was a little hard because I'm self-conscious being on camera right now. But if I think, oh, shame, that was a little bit more connected. But again, I'm like on camera thinking about you looking at me. So see, what we do is really hard. When we take it into the song, notice what happens to your vocal tract when you let something like they turn your dream to shame. Yeah, that is your voice is going to do something very particular depending on the emotional story you're believing. So if you have what is this? Yeah. So as they turn your dream, yeah, and then if you got to shame. So I'm feeling that my palate's kind of lofted up a little bit. I've got sort of like an open throat situation going on here because it's like there's a little bit of a howl of grief in this sound. Think about when you say, oh God. If you have that feeling, it's a really open, even thinking about like, well, I was about to say a toddler, but adults do this too, right? So if you have that feeling, that's really inside this sound. If I said, or I was saying, as they turn your dream to shame, that's more of like a comedy. It's a strange juxtaposition, right? That's not how we think shame. Yeah, unless like shame on you. That's more of a comedy situation, right? So if I've got if I'm Fontaine and if I've experienced what she's experienced. This sort of howl of the soul feel. And if you really connect in that way first, your body will tell you what the sound needs to sound like. The soft palate on that is floaty on its own because shame. I wouldn't say shame. That's not the intention there. It's like I said, it's like a howl of the soul. So ask those two questions to yourself on every phrase. Who am I? What do I believe is happening? That is going to shape every choice you make for every phrase you sing. All right. Reach out to me if you have questions about this. I'm here.